All right, welcome to the stage, Steve Butschi from Google. Join me in welcoming Steve. Just while we get Steve's presentation up, it's obviously wonderful to get perspective from an organization as global and as important a global leader in technology as well. So let's hear from Steve to help set the scene and get a Google perspective on the future of impact as well. Steve, over to you.
Thanks, Patrick. Hi, everyone. I'm Stephen Butschi, our Director of Education for Google Cloud. It's great to see you all today. I've been at Google now almost 13 years, working on Google Apps for Education, launching Chromebooks, launching Google Classroom. I'm based here in New York City, and in fact, my claim to fame is I swam 1 mile in the Hudson River and escaped, I think, unharmed, although maybe I need to talk to some of you healthcare experts to make sure. But great to have you here in the Big Apple, and I'm excited to talk to you today about some of the trends that we're seeing and the challenges and the vision for the future. So some of you may be thinking, why is Google here? And if you think about how we started 20 years ago, it was all about speed. How can we make sure that people can get access to the right information, billions of web pages, lots of billions of people now we know that are here trying to find that information. And then we realized it wasn't just speed, it was speed at scale. And if you think about it today, we are performing over billions of searches a day. And an interesting piece, thinking about education, 15% of those searches are net new. We've never seen them before. We have to figure out how to deliver the right result. Additionally, there's more than 500 hours of YouTube video uploaded per minute. In addition to that, many of you may use Google Photos and videos. We have 4 billion inputs into those products every day. And we have over 4 trillion photos that are currently stored. What makes me really proud as well, thinking about sustainability, is that all of that's done in a 100% carbon neutral way. So as we think about the challenges that we're seeing in education, and I know that as the pandemic happened, we saw overnight 1 billion new people turning to online learning. But it's caused some issues. And as we start here, we heard a little bit on the last panel about inequality. Access to technology, access to the internet is certainly widening between those who have it and those who don't. Additionally, the learning loss. Did you all see that New York Times article recently about the National Assessment of Educational Progress? And for the first time in 20 years, our reading and math scores in the United States have gone backwards. In addition to that, there's a stat that students know less today compared to students in the same grade level before the pandemic, and that's from the Center for Global Development. So we know that many students aren't prepared to graduate, let alone prepared for what happens after graduation. And then in addition to that, we're seeing an increase in cybersecurity threats. Many of you might have seen a few weeks ago the news of Los Angeles Unified, where they were attacked by a cybersecurity threat. And it's problematic given all the important student data, but also it disrupts learning. If we look at sustainability, we know that this is critical. It's becoming a board-level conversation at Google and many other companies. It's not only employees, it's customers, it's regulators, it's investors. They're saying this is a top priority. And some of the challenges that are popping up. How do we manage and grow our business sustainably, especially with such innovative and difficult ESG goals? Additionally, how do we continue to manage our business given the climate-related risks, whether it's wildfires, extreme heat, flooding that actually disrupt business operations? And then third, how do we communicate our climate impact? I think Maria was talking about the difficulty in measuring outcomes and communicating that with your stakeholders. In healthcare, additionally, like education, changed overnight. I'm sure you all, as we were trying to receive healthcare throughout the pandemic, and a few challenges that popped up from that as we redefine the healthcare experience is how do we improve that patient experience, especially with the push towards virtual and physical. Additionally, data interoperability. There's so much medical data that is being underutilized, it's trapped in silos, and we're not getting the most efficiency out of it. Additionally, operational efficiency. How do we create automated processes as we think about caregiver burnout to ensure that these folks have more time back to themselves to be able to improve clinical, operational, and business outcomes? So I'd argue that the moment to transform is now. In addition to those specific industry challenges, we're seeing that there's additional challenges just at the education, technology, healthcare, sustainability across industries, and those can be summed up by three things. First, we're seeing high expectations of users, particularly Generation Z that doesn't want to deal with old legacy systems or bad user interfaces. Second, we're seeing, as I mentioned, in education, but it's apparent to all industries, the push towards how to protect against these rising and growing cybersecurity threats. And additionally, how are we finding, especially all the startups in the room, moving from just user adoption to actual financial sustainability? And this is becoming even more important as we look at the access to capital, to talent, and to funding is becoming harder and harder to access. So diving a bit deeper into those three segments of education, sustainability, and healthcare. In education, we're seeing a few trends, and I feel like I'm echoing a bit of the panel, but I promise I didn't collude with them. The first thing is the rise towards micro-credentials and lifelong learning. I liked how they mentioned grade 13 plus. How do we, as our economy is changing, the roles that we need to fill is changing, how are we ensuring that students don't just stop at graduation, but they can earn credits and credentials to earn one skill and learn one skill at a time? Second is personalized learning. And for a few of you that I've been on roundtables with, excuse me, because you've heard the analogy, but I was speaking to a university president. Maybe I'm biased because he used an analogy of a Google product. But if you think about something like Google Maps, you put in your destination. What's the outcome that I want to accomplish? And then you can start to personalize it. Do I want to get there the fastest time? Do I want to get there the most scenic way? Do I want to get there the way with the least amount of tolls so I can save money? And then if I happen to have life get in the way, I have a kid or I move or something happens and I get off my path, how can it redirect me and help me get back to where I want to go? And I think that we've got more and more technology available to help us get there, whether it be using AI and smart analytics to suggest learning materials that students need to use, or predictive analytics to help students who are at risk of dropping out, whether it's chatbots to answer coursework questions. We've launched an AI interactive tutor with some universities where it's providing 24/7 one-on-one support for students outside the classroom so they can teach the AI automated tutor and see what they know, and it gives them personalized feedback at 2 in the morning. Trend 3, which came up in the panels, around interoperability. How do we use all this siloed data? I heard in one of the roundtables this week that an average teacher has about 127 ed tech tools that they use. I'd imagine it's probably similar in healthcare where there's so many tools that are out there. How can we ensure that they talk to each other so you can get one view of the student or of the patient for a comprehensive learner experience? And additionally, how do we keep ed in ed tech using the right research and pedagogically focused approaches to ensure that we're really progressing learning outcomes? In sustainability, we know that we have to start working fast to prepare for all these effects of climate change. We've seen that there's a trend around digital sustainability. How do we decarbonize our digital applications and infrastructure? Second, how do we make more and smarter data centers that are more efficient? For example, and what you've been doing this is how can we use AI to better cool and minimize our electricity in our data centers? And that's where we're seeing some organizations are moving from managing their own data centers or co-location facilities to get these advancements using Google Cloud. Additionally, we need to think about our healthier supply chain. We know that this is a huge source of emissions. And if we can use the cloud with other tools like satellite imagery and data and AI to improve processes, that can help us get there. And last, of how to restore our planet across our forests. I think there were some pretty bad charts up there of how we're seeing the deforestation happening, protecting our oceans and our wildlife. On healthcare, a few trends that we're seeing. One is, how do we improve the digital care delivery model? This includes a virtual experience for continuous care, including and matching with in-person experiences. How do we drive insights? I mentioned the data silos earlier. How do we break those down to get more efficiency? How do we automate the back office to give timely and trustworthy data to make data better and faster decisions? And also, how do we improve that digital patient experience? We know that in 2020, there's approximately 175 times more telehealth visits than there were the year before. I was talking, I don't know if Shiv is in the audience, I was chatting with him earlier. There he is over there. We know that telehealth visits is coming down a bit, but this new normal of how do we match the in-person and virtual will be super important. And that we're already starting to see with things like AI-centered or AI contact centers that are helping schedule appointments, ensuring that they can pre-screen patients, set up visits, and give personalized feedback. So Google Cloud, we've got a lot of tools. I sometimes think about it of going to Home Depot or Lowe's. We've got all these storage and analytics and big data and machine learning tools and impressive statistics that you see here. But I think it's more about what is this doing to actually enable transformation. And there's 5 transformation clouds that I think of. And these are what will improve our lives, how we live, how we learn, how we teach, how we engage. The first is Data Cloud, and I encourage you as you're building your companies, how are you using data effectively to make smarter decisions? The second, Open Cloud. I really encourage you to think about this on how to use open source technology to help your developers innovate, build, test, and launch in the environment of their choice, and avoid vendor lock-in. So 5 years down the line, you're not stuck with something you don't want. 3, as we've heard a lot here, sustainability. How do we build clean infrastructure? 4th, how do we ensure collaboration, a collaboration cloud where we can help others create, communicate, and collaborate? And 5, how do we think about secure and keeping data safe and secure in these clouds? Some examples, I learned by examples. First is Kahoot. Many of you may have heard of it. It is a game-based learning platform, and we worked with them to automate their DevOps to handle over 2 billion learners in 2021. The second smaller logo is the state of Hawaii, their Department of Transportation Highway Division. And I love this example because they're working with Google Earth Engine and pairing it with analytics on Google Cloud for a climate resilience risk platform. It allows them to help decide where they want to invest based on their community impact, based on what climate risks they see coming up. And then we're also working with the National Institute of Health to build a knowledge platform on Terra and Google Cloud to address and accelerate Parkinson's disease research. So how can we help? As we think about education, I would argue we would be a great partner for you. It's kind of built into our DNA. You think about our mission statement to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. There's a sense of curiosity, trying to find information, trying to make sense of that. And what we've tried to do as part of that is build tools, especially to help those underserved, to connect in and learn. An example of the 170 million learners and teachers using Google Workspace for education. We have 40 million students and teachers across the globe connecting with Chromebooks, and we've donated over $250 million through google.org to address educational gap challenges. This is where we're really excited to partner with all of you of how we can use our infrastructure, our distribution, and reach to get your education technology into the ecosystem and continue to support personalized learning. On sustainability, this is a core tenet. Some of you may know that in 2007, actually, we announced that we were the first major company to be carbon neutral. A decade later, we pushed ourselves more to match our electrical consumption with 100% renewable energy. Again, the first company of our size to do so. Some of our latest efforts around digital sustainability, around sharing technology, processes, funding to transition to carbon-free. In fact, in Google Cloud, if you're running there, we actually built a tool where you can determine your carbon emissions associated with your Google Cloud usage, and then you'll get tips on how you can reduce that. In addition, we're working to build more energy-efficient data centers. We're already 2 times as efficient as a typical enterprise data center, and we deliver, I thought this stat was pretty cool, 5 times as much computing power for the same amount of electricity required 5 years ago. It's becoming more sustainable and more efficient. In 2020, we announced that we're going to run 24/7 carbon-free energy to make sure that you build on our platform can also advance your sustainability goals. It also means that we need to work on our sustainable supply chain. How do we reduce waste and pollution and keep materials in use? We announced in October 2021 that we're going to achieve net zero emissions across all of our operations and value chain by 2030. And lastly, how do we use AI and ML? I know it's been mentioned a lot. I love this GIF here because this is some entrepreneurs called Apec.ai. They're using TensorFlow and Vision AI to understand the movement of bees and honeybees to understand why these colonies are disappearing and affecting our climate. In healthcare, a few ways that we want to engage. One, how do we build specific security and compliance tools? We know this is top of mind for many folks. How do you use AI and ML to gain insights from data, accelerate research, and provide a seamless patient experience? That's things like Contact Center AI is already deployed there. How do we bring the best of Alphabet across Google Health and Verily and create innovative solutions with all of you? How do we provide technology differentiation using our partnerships with healthcare providers to create tools that speak healthcare data formats and promote interoperability? And last, how do we leverage our healthcare and life science expertise? We have one of the largest engineering healthcare teams in all of the cloud providers, and we've published over 100 articles on healthcare research and technology. So moving forward, our vision, 3 things I would take away. 1, you've heard it a lot, security is a must. We've got to protect our data and keep it safe. Second, I think you've heard a lot during the panels, AI will be part of every solution. It's not just science fiction. If we want to really advance the personalized learning journey for students, personalized healthcare, thinking about all the challenges around climate, we have to use AI. And third, to find partners that you can trust. We hope to be one of yours given our commitment to open data-centered processes, being sustainable, and having secure applications. A few ways you can get engaged with us. If you're an early stage startup, we have a Google Cloud for Startups program that provides financial, technical, business support. We'd love to engage you. If you are a more advanced partner, we have a Partner Advantage program where you can get all the benefits with Google, integrating with our products, going to market with us. And I look forward to working together with you as we improve outcomes for all of our learners, educators, providers, consumers, and citizens worldwide. And I can't wait to meet many of you at the conference. Thanks for having us. Thanks, Pat. Appreciate it.
Wonderful.